Our next guest here at Enercom's London Oil and Gas Conference is Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Energy XXI, the third largest producer on the Gulf of Mexico shelf. The company applies its acquire and exploit tactics, targeting mature oil-producing fields on the shelf. Since 2005, Energy XXI has completed 5 major acquisitions, totaling approximately $2.5 billion, including a $1 billion acquisition of ExxonMobil properties in 2010. John Schiller joins me now to discuss the company's near-term operational goals in the Gulf of Mexico. Can you give us an update on how the workover, recompletions, and drilling programs are progressing on the ExxonMobil properties that you purchased?
Sure, things have been really good. We're 8 out of 8 in terms of drilling wells. We got a couple more going right now. Fully expect to be 10 out of 10 before we drill anything of any risk, which will be Golden Bear. Workovers, recompletions, all those programs have averaged about 4 months payout for us. Today, we continue to identify opportunities of wells that were shut in, making 200 barrels of oil a day and 40 barrels of water. And we do some work, fix holes in tubing, add some gas lift mandrels, and start bringing that production back on. So it's a large opportunity of assets.
Yeah, 100% isn't bad, I guess.
Yeah.
So a new aspect and strategy has sort of been introduced to the Energy XXI story lately, one that includes sort of organic growth opportunities. What can our viewers learn about these new drilling initiatives, and what near-term results should they look for?
I think the big thing to keep in mind is you've never had someone in a position we're in. A company like us, an aggressive independent that owns 6 or 7 of the largest fields. Oil in place under our fields is 4 to 5 billion barrels of oil, and all we recovered is 1.8.
Yeah.
Or all we're projected to recover is 1.8. So I think the horizontal drilling, water injection, maintenance, you're going to see a lot of things where we start moving recovery factors from the 35 to 40% range to the 50 to 60%.
Oh, wow. Wow. So, and the company's always been focused on oil. Your production's currently about 70% on production and reserves. You know, what are you currently producing now, and what do you expect for the end of the fiscal year 2012?
You know, we're going to post a nice quarter. This quarter will be with a 50 handle on it. Production ranges from lows 51, 52 to highs of 56, depending on rig activity and how much we have to shut in on any given day. We're going to be very close to exiting the quarter in the high 50s, 60,000 a day.
Wow, wow. And a lot of that is priced on, what is that priced off? Is that Brent? Is that?
We're actually priced off Brent's a good number to look at. We typically get Brent plus a couple of dollars a barrel because we're mainly HLS, heavy Louisiana sweet. Lately, that $2 differential has been back to even with Brent, but Brent's the best marker for us.
Okay, okay. So have you made any changes to your hedging schedule lately to, you know, you just addressed sort of that shift in Brent. Have you guys made any changes to that?
Well, one of the things we did is we bought some put spreads through the end of the year to kind of cover what's happening. We did it when WTI was up there. So some of those are coming into money right now. We give you some sense of what the hedging's done for us. A month ago, if I'd been sitting here, we were a negative 75 million mark to market. Today, we're like a positive 70 million. Okay. So our position's changed 145 million to the bad or good, depending on how you look at it, I guess. Right. But it gives us the ability to look at things like monetization, perhaps, some of that, and turn it into cash and things like that. Okay.
So you've proven your capability of generating significant cash flow. This recent quarter, you actually announced you're going to be distributing cash back to your shareholders. Sort of what was the strategy behind this?
Well, as you said, we're generating a lot of cash flow. Our revolver's paid off. Our long-term high-yield debt's not callable until December 2014. And we feel very good that we'll be in a position to pay that off when time comes. So you look at what your uses of the cash were. We're not going to spend more than about $700 million drilling. We just can't do that with the staff we have, and that still generates a lot of free cash. So we just felt like a dividend was the right thing to do to give it back to our shareholders, and we chose a number that we feel very good about being able to maintain and grow going forward.
And so your company has a dual listing, obviously in the U.S. and in London. Are there differences and commonalities in sort of how investors evaluate the Energy XXI story versus maybe a U.S. investor? Are there different ways that they're looking at Energy XXI?
I think to a small degree. We're about 5% European holders. When we originally did the IPO, we were 30%. The European holder obviously is a longer term holder. They are more risk oriented in general. I know that back from my ocean days. You know, I could spend a whole week in Europe and only get asked about West Africa political risk once, and then New York, it was 3 times a day sort of question. So there's definitely different fundamentals. I don't know that it changes how they look at us being dual listed. We're probably able to see more people when we're in London because of the dual listing, but almost all the shares trade now on NASDAQ.
Okay. Well, John, once again, I want to thank you for taking the time today here in London, and especially coming over to make the presentation. I want to remind viewers that they can also stay up to date on Energy 21 by visiting Oil and Gas 360. So, John, thanks again for being here.
Great. Thanks for having us.